The morning sun barely touched the palace walls when Marcus heard the whisper, "The Queen's champion is coming today." He kept his eyes forward. His grip tightened on the ceremonial spear he'd held for 3 years. 3 years of standing. 3 years of silence. 3 years of pretending he was invisible. That's what royal guards did. They blended into the marble. They became statues. They never moved unless ordered. They never spoke unless spoken to. And they certainly never, ever drew attention to themselves. Marcus had learned this the hard way. The other guards straightened their postures as Captain Aldrin marched down the corridor. His boots echoed like thunder against the polished floor. Behind him walked a man in silver armor, a long sword strapped across his back. Sir Dorian, the Queen's personal champion, the man who'd never lost a duel. Attention. Captain Aldrin's voice cut through the morning stillness. 20 guards snapped to position, Marcus among them. His heart drummed in his chest, but his face remained stone. Sir Dorian walked past each guard slowly, studying them, judging them. His eyes were cold, calculating. When he reached Marcus, he paused. "This one," Sir Dorian said, his voice dripping with boredom. "He looks soft." The captain's jaw tightened. "He served honorably for 3 years, sir. Honorably." Sir Dorian laughed without humor. "Standing in place is not honor. Any man can hold a spear and pretend to be brave." Marcus's knuckles turned white around the spear shaft. But he didn't move. Couldn't move, before you hear what happens next. If you love stories that reveal hidden strength and unexpected courage, hit that subscribe button. You won't want to miss how this unfolds. Sir Dorian turned to face the captain. "The Queen has requested a demonstration. She wants to see how well her palace guards can actually defend her should danger arise." He smiled, but there was no warmth in it. "Choose your best man. I'll show everyone what real combat looks like." The captain's eyes swept across his guards. He knew them all. Their strengths. Their weaknesses. Their fears. His gaze landed on Thomas, the largest guard, a former soldier who'd seen real battle. Thomas stepped forward without hesitation. The courtyard filled quickly. Word spread through the palace like wildfire. Servants, nobles, advisors, everyone wanted to watch. Even the Queen herself appeared on the balcony, her expression unreadable. Thomas took his position. He held a practice sword, blunted but still dangerous. Sir Dorian drew his own training blade with a flourish. "Begin," the captain commanded. It lasted 12 seconds. Sir Dorian moved like water. His blade was everywhere at once. Thomas tried to block, tried to counter, but he might as well have been fighting the wind. The champion's sword touched Thomas's throat before anyone could blink. "Next," Sir Dorian said, not even breathing hard. 3 more guards stepped forward. Each one fell faster than the last. The crowd murmured. Some looked impressed. Others looked afraid. Sir Dorian pointed his sword at the remaining guards. "Is this truly the best the palace has to offer? Men who crumble like paper?" Marcus felt something stir inside him. Something he'd buried long ago. Something dangerous. The captain's face had turned red. "These men are loyal. They would die for the Queen." "Dying is easy, sir," Dorian said. "Winning is what matters." He scanned the guards again, his eyes landing on Marcus. "You, the soft one. Come here." The courtyard went silent. Marcus's pulse thundered in his ears. Every instinct screamed at him to refuse, to stay invisible, to stay safe, but his feet moved anyway. He stepped into the circle. Sir Dorian's smile widened. "Finally, someone with a spine." He tossed Marcus a practice sword. "Let's see if you have anything else." Marcus caught the blade. The weight felt familiar in his hand. Too familiar? The champion raised his sword. "Try not to embarrass yourself." What happened in the next 3 seconds would change everything. Asterisk, the first strike came fast. Sir Dorian's blade cut through the air where Marcus's head had been a heartbeat. Before, Marcus ducked, sidestepped, his body moved on pure instinct. The crowd gasped. Sir Dorian's eyes narrowed. He attacked again, faster this time. A slash aimed at Marcus's ribs, but the blade hit only air. Marcus had already moved. "Interesting, sir," Dorian muttered. His casual smile faded. "You've had training." Marcus didn't respond. Couldn't respond? His mind had gone somewhere else. Somewhere older, somewhere he'd promised himself he'd never go again. The champion pressed forward with a flurry of strikes. High, low, left, right. Each one precise. Each one deadly, if this were real combat. Marcus blocked. Parried, retreated, step by step around the circle. His movements were clean, efficient, nothing wasted. The courtyard had gone completely silent. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath. Captain Aldrin's mouth hung open. He'd trained Marcus himself, had seen him drill with the other guards. The man he was watching now fought nothing like the quiet guard he thought he knew. Sir Dorian's jaw clenched. He attacked harder, faster. His blade became a blur of motion. Any normal guard would have fallen in seconds. But Marcus wasn't normal. He blocked every strike, read every feint, stayed just out of reach when he needed to. His breathing remained steady. His eyes never left the champion's blade. "Who are you?" Sir Dorian demanded between attacks. Marcus said nothing. The champion roared and launched his most aggressive assault yet, a combination he'd used to defeat knights twice his size. Overhead strike, spin, low sweep, thrust for moves that had never failed him. Marcus's blade met each one. Metal rang against metal. Sparks flew. On the fourth strike, something shifted. Marcus didn't just block. He redirected. Sir Dorian's thrust sailed past him, leaving the champion exposed for half a second. That was all Marcus needed. His practiced sword touched Sir Dorian's chest. Right over the heart, the courtyard exploded with noise, gasps, shouts, disbelief. Sir Dorian stumbled backward, his face pale. He looked down at the spot where Marcus's blade had touched him. In real combat, he would be dead. "Impossible," he whispered. Marcus lowered his sword. His hands were shaking now. Not from fear. From memory, the queen stood from her seat on the balcony. Her voice cut through the chaos. "Stop." Everyone froze. She descended the stairs slowly, her gown flowing behind her like water. Every eye followed her. When she reached the courtyard, she walked straight to Marcus. "Remove your helmet," she commanded. Marcus hesitated, then obeyed. His face was young. Too young to fight like he'd just fought. Brown eyes. Sharp features. A scar running along his jaw that most people never noticed under the helmet's shadow. The queen studied him. "What is your name?" "Marcus Hale, your majesty." "And where did you learn to fight like that, Marcus Hale?" The question hung in the air like a blade. Marcus's throat tightened. He'd spent 3 years avoiding this moment. 3 years hiding. 3 years trying to forget. "Answer your queen, Captain," Aldrin said quietly. Marcus closed his eyes. "I trained at the Crimson Academy, your majesty." Crowd erupted again. The Crimson Academy. The most elite sword-fighting school in the kingdom. Only nobles and wealthy merchants could afford to send their children there. It produced the finest duelists, the deadliest soldiers, the most respected knights. What was a graduate doing as a common palace guard? The queen's eyes widened slightly. "The academy trains for 6 years. How old are you?" 23, your majesty." The math was simple. He would have started at 11, finished at 17. 6 years ago. "And yet you stand here," the queen said slowly, holding a ceremonial spear instead of commanding armies. "Why?" Marcus opened his mouth, closed it. The truth was a weight on his chest. Sir Dorian had recovered his composure. His face burned with shame and rage. "This is some trick. Some deception." "No guard could he beat you," the queen interrupted, her voice sharp. Clearly and decisively. "There is no trick in that." The champion's hand moved toward his real sword. Not the practice blade. The steel one. "I demand a rematch," Sir Dorian growled. "With real weapons? Let's see how brave this guard truly is." The queen's expression didn't change, but something dangerous flickered in her eyes. Marcus felt his blood run cold. A real duel. With real swords? Against the Queen's champion. If he refused, he'd be branded a coward. If he accepted, one of them might die. And if Marcus won again, his past would be torn open for everyone to see. The Queen raised one hand. Silence fell instantly. "No," she said firmly. "There will be no duel with real weapons. Not today." Sir Dorian's face twisted. "But your Majesty," I said. "No." The Queen's voice carried authority that even a champion couldn't challenge. She turned back to Marcus. "You will come with me. Now." Marcus had no choice but to follow. They walked through the palace corridors. The Queen moved ahead, her guards trailing behind. Marcus walked beside Captain Aldrin, who kept shooting him confused glances. "You never told me," the captain whispered. 3 years, Marcus. 3 years you stood silent. You never asked." Marcus replied quietly. They reached the Queen's private study. She dismissed everyone except Marcus and the captain. The heavy door closed with a final sounding thud. The Queen sat behind an oak desk covered in maps and correspondence. She gestured for them to stand before her. "Explain," she said simply. Marcus took a breath. The words he'd buried for years clawed their way up his throat. "I graduated from the Crimson Academy 6 years ago. Top of my class." His voice was steady, but his hands weren't. "I was 17. I thought I was invincible. I thought I understood what it meant to be a warrior." The Queen listened without interrupting. "A month after graduation, I took a position as a hired sword, protecting merchant caravans. Simple work, good pay." Marcus's eyes grew distant. "One night, bandits attacked. There were 12 of them. I killed 4 before they retreated." Captain Aldrin's expression shifted. "Killing 4 men wasn't luck. It was skill. The merchants were grateful. They spread word about me. More jobs came. Harder jobs, riskier jobs." Marcus's jaw tightened. "I started taking contracts as a duelist, settling disputes for nobles, fighting in their place for gold." The Queen's eyes narrowed. "Proxy dueling is legal. Why hide this? Because of what happened in Westridge." The name hung in the air like poison. The captain's face went pale. "The Westridge scandal. That was you?" Marcus nodded slowly. Even the Queen seemed shaken. "Tell me what happened." Marcus forced the words out. "Lord Brennan hired me to fight Baron Cortez over a land dispute. Standard contract duel. First blood, not death. I was 19. Cocky. I thought it would be easy." His hands curled into fists. "The Baron was older, slower, but he was desperate. He needed that land to save his estate. When I drew first blood, when I won, he didn't stop. He kept fighting. Attacked me even after the duel was called. The room had grown cold. I defended myself. My blade." Marcus's voice cracked. "It went through his shoulder, severed an artery. He died before the healers arrived." The Queen's expression was unreadable. "The law said I was innocent. Self-defense, but Baron Cortez had a family, wife, 3 children. They lost everything when he died. Lost their land, lost their home." Marcus met the Queen's eyes. "I took Lord Brennan's gold and won his dispute, and a man died. A father, because I was good with a sword." Captain Aldrin exhaled slowly. "So you ran." "I gave the Baron's family every coin I'd earned. Every piece of gold from every duel. It wasn't enough. Could never be enough." Marcus's voice hardened. "Then I came here. I asked for the simplest position in the palace, ceremonial guard. Someone who would never have to draw a weapon again. Someone who could disappear." The Queen stood and walked to the window. The courtyard below was empty now. The crowd had dispersed. "You've been hiding for 3 years," she said quietly, standing silent. "Pretending to be less than you are." "Yes, Your Majesty." "And if Sir Dorian hadn't challenged you today, if he hadn't forced you to reveal yourself?" Marcus didn't hesitate. "I would have stood silent for 30 more years if I could." The Queen turned. Her expression had softened, but only slightly. "That man's death weighs on you every day." "Good." The word was unexpected. A warrior who feels nothing when someone dies is not a warrior. He's a monster. She walked back to her desk. "But hiding accomplishes nothing. That man is still dead. His family is still suffering. And you're still the same person who tried to help them. Marcus said nothing. The Queen sat down. I need fighters, Marcus. Real fighters. Not ceremony. Not pageantry. The kingdom has enemies. Threats that grow bolder each month. I need people who can protect not just me, but everyone in this palace. Your Majesty, I can't. I'm not asking you to be a killer. Her voice was firm, but not unkind. I'm asking you to be what you were trained to be. A protector. Someone who uses skill to prevent death, not cause it. Captain Aldrin stepped forward. The Queen is right, Marcus. What I saw today, that wasn't a killer's technique. Could have hurt Sir Dorian badly if you wanted to. Controlled every strike. That takes more skill than aggression ever will. Marcus's mind spun. 3 years of silence, 3 years of peace, all of it crumbling in one morning. The Queen's next words hit like a hammer. Sir Dorian is humiliated. And humiliated men are dangerous men. She leaned forward. He will challenge you again, officially, with real steel. And when he does, I cannot stop it. The law allows champions to defend their honor. Marcus's blood ran cold. When 3 days, maybe less. The Queen's eyes held his. You can refuse. Walk away. Leave the palace and disappear again. He could. He'd walk out right now and never look back. But if you stay, the Queen continued, if you accept his challenge and win, we'll name you Captain of the Royal Guard. You'll train my soldiers, protect my people, and you'll never have to hide again. The offer hung between them like a blade's edge. Marcus looked at his hands. These hands had taken a life. Could he trust them not to take another? The answer terrified him. That night, Marcus couldn't sleep. He lay in the guard barracks staring at the ceiling. Around him, other guards snored and shifted in their bunks. They didn't know, didn't understand. Tomorrow, everything would change. Word had already spread through the palace. The quiet guard who'd beaten the Queen's champion? Servants whispered about it. Nobles gossiped. Even the kitchen staff had opinions. Marcus rose before dawn. His body needed to move. He found the training yard empty. Good. He needed the silence. His sword, his real sword. Not the ceremonial spear hung on the wall of the armory. He'd kept it locked away for 3 years. Never touched it. Never looked at it. Now he drew it slowly. The blade caught the moonlight. Steel forged at the Crimson Academy. Perfectly balanced. Sharp enough to split silk floating in the air. He'd earned this sword through 6 years of blood, sweat, and countless bruises. It felt like holding a curse. He moved through the old forms. Techniques drilled into him since childhood. His body remembered every step, every turn, every strike. Muscle memory that never faded. You look like a ghost. Marcus spun. Captain Aldrin stood at the training yard entrance, arms crossed. Couldn't sleep? The captain asked. No, sir? Aldrin walked closer. He studied Marcus with new eyes. Eyes that saw past the disguise. I should have known. The way you held your spear. Too perfect. Too practiced. Real ceremonial guards make mistakes. But you never did. Marcus lowered his blade. I'm sorry I lied. You didn't lie. You just didn't tell the whole truth. The captain picked up a training sword from the rack. There's a difference. Is there? Aldrin tested the weight of the practice blade. 3 years ago, you asked me for the most meaningless position in the palace. I thought you were lazy. Maybe afraid. I almost turned you away. Marcus said nothing. But something in your eyes? The captain shook his head. You weren't running from duty. You were running from yourself. I've seen that look before. In soldiers who'd seen too much battle. Men who'd killed when they didn't want to. You knew? I suspected. Never imagined it was Westridge, though. Aldrin took a stance. Show me. Marcus hesitated. Show you what? Everything you've been hiding. I want to see what the Crimson Academy really teaches. They moved through the forms together. Captain to student. Teacher to warrior. Aldrin was good years of experience showed in every movement, but Marcus was better. Not because of ego or pride. Simply because the Academy had forged him into something sharper. After an hour, Aldrin stepped back, breathing hard. Merciful gods. You're as good as the legends say. The legends? The captain wiped sweat from his brow. After Westridge stories spread, the duelist who beat men twice his age, the boy who'd never lost a fight, some called you the Ghost Blade because you moved so fast. Others called you reckless, dangerous. Marcus sheathed his sword. They were right. I was reckless. You were young. Aldrin's voice softened. And you tried to make it right. That counts for something. Does it? The Baron is still dead. His children still suffered. Yes. And you'll carry that the rest of your life. But you can't bring him back by hiding. You can only try to make sure it doesn't happen again. The words echoed what the Queen had said. But hearing them from Aldrina, man who'd fought in real wars, who'd lost friends on battlefields, gave them different weight. Footsteps approached. Both men turned. A messenger hurried into the training yard. Young, out of breath. Captain Marcus, the Queen requests your presence immediately. They followed the messenger through empty corridors. Dawn light filtered through windows, painting everything gold and shadow. The Queen waited in the throne room. She wasn't alone. Sir Dorian stood before her, still in his silver armor. His face was stone. Beside him stood 3 other men in formal dress. Witnesses. Marcus's stomach dropped. Sir Dorian's voice rang out. I, Sir Dorian Vex, champion of the realm, formally challenge you to an honored duel. Steel against steel. First to yield or first blood? 3 days hence at noon. The challenge had come even sooner than expected. The Queen's expression gave nothing away. Marcus, do you accept? Every instinct screamed at him to refuse, to walk away, to run like he'd run from Westridge. But something else stirred inside him, something older than fear. The same instinct that had made him step into the circle yesterday, the same drive that had pushed him through 6 years at the academy. He thought of Baron Cortez, of the man's family, of 3 years hiding. Running hadn't brought peace. It had only brought silence. And silence wasn't the same thing at all. Marcus straightened his shoulders. Look Sir Dorian in the eye. I accept. The champion's jaw clenched. Then prepare yourself. In 3 days, everyone will see what you really are. A fraud who got lucky once. Maybe, Marcus said quietly, or maybe they'll see something else. Sir Dorian stormed out, his witnesses following. The Queen remained on her throne. You didn't have to accept, yes, Your Majesty. I did. She studied him for a long moment. Why? Marcus chose his words carefully. Because hiding didn't honor Baron Cortez's memory. It didn't help his family. It just made me feel better about myself. And that's not good enough anymore. The Queen nodded slowly. Then use these 3 days well. Sir Dorian is a champion for a reason. He's never lost a real duel. Not once in 15 years? I know. He'll be training every waking moment. Learning from today's mistakes. He won't underestimate you again. Marcus met her eyes. Neither will I. As he left the throne room, Captain Aldrin fell into step beside him. You're really doing this? I'm really doing this? Then you'll need help. Real training. Not just morning drills. The captain's voice dropped. I know someone. Someone who trained at the academy before you. Someone who knew your master? Marcus stopped walking. Who? Aldrin smiled grimly. Someone who's been waiting 3 years for you to stop hiding. She's going to be very pleased you finally grew a spine. The name hit Marcus like cold water. He knew exactly who the captain meant. Master Alara, the woman who'd taught him everything. The deadliest sword fighter the academy had ever produced. And the one person Marcus had hoped he'd never face again? Master Alara lived in the old district, where nobles rarely visited and guards seldom patrolled. Her house was small, unremarkable. Nothing about it suggested the greatest swordswoman in the kingdom. Lived inside, Marcus stood at her door for 5 full minutes. Before knocking, the woman who answered looked exactly as he remembered. 50 years old, gray hair tied back, scars crisscrossing her hands and forearms. Her eyes were steel. Marcus, It's not a question, a statement. As if she'd been expecting him. Master Alara. His voice nearly failed. She stepped aside. Come in. You look terrible. The house interior was sparse. Weapons hung on every wall. Swords, daggers, staffs, each one a tool, nothing decorative. A life devoted to the blade, and nothing else? Alara poured tea without asking if he wanted any. They sat across from each other at a worn table. I heard about your performance yesterday, she said. The whole city is talking. My idiot former student finally stopped pretending to be ordinary. You knew I was here? Of course I knew. She sipped her tea calmly. I knew the moment you joined the palace guard. Did you think I wouldn't recognize your technique? Even hidden behind that ridiculous ceremonial spear? Marcus felt like a child caught stealing sweets. Why didn't you say anything? Because you needed to hide. After Westridge, after Cortez? Her eyes softened, but only slightly. Grief is not weakness, Marcus. Neither is guilt. But using them as excuses to waste your gift, that is weakness. The words cut deeper than any blade. I killed a man, Marcus said quietly. Yes, and it destroyed you. As it should. Lara set down her tea. But that man attacked you after the duel ended. After you'd won honorably, his death was tragic. It was also his choice. His family suffered. Yes, and you gave them every coin you had. You tried to make it right. She leaned forward. But you can't undo the past by hiding in the present. You can only choose what kind of man you'll be tomorrow. Marcus's throat tightened. Sir Dorian challenged me. 3 days. Real steel. I know. That's why you're here. Ilara stood. Follow me. She led him to her basement. Stone walls. Low ceiling. Weapon racks everywhere. It looked like a training hall compressed into impossible space. For 3 days, Ilara said, picking up 2 training swords, you belong to me again. Not as my student, as my equal. We're going to sharpen every skill you've let rust. Break every bad habit you've developed. And most importantly, she tossed him a blade. We're going to teach you how to win without killing. Marcus caught the sword. Is that possible? Against someone like Dorian? A fighter has 3 options. Kill, wound, disarm. Alara took her stance. The academy taught you all 3, but you've forgotten the hardest one. Disarming requires perfect control, perfect timing, perfect understanding of your opponent's mind. She attacked. Marcus barely blocked in time. Ilara moved like water, like wind. Age hadn't slowed her at all. Dorian is predictable, she said between strikes. Aggressive, powerful. He overwhelms opponents with strength and speed. But predictability is weakness. Marcus parried, countered, found himself driven back step by step. You're faster than him, Alara continued. Smarter. But you're afraid. That fear will kill you if you let it. She swept his legs. He hit the ground hard. Again, she commanded. They trained until Marcus couldn't feel his arms. Then trained some more. Ilara showed no mercy. Every mistake earned a bruise. Every hesitation earned a strike. You hold back, she observed. Even now? Even here. You're afraid to commit to the attack, 'cause I might hurt you. So, she circled him like a predator. I can handle pain. I've earned every scar on my body. What I can't handle is watching my best student throw away his life because he's afraid of his own strength. Marcus gritted his teeth. Attacked with full force, Ilara blocked effortlessly. Better, but still thinking too much. Stop analyzing. Stop remembering Westridge. Just be here now. In this moment, the hours blurred together. Attack, defend, counter, repeat. Ilara pushed him past exhaustion. Past pain, into a place where only instinct existed. When they finally stopped, the sun had set. Marcus collapsed against the wall, gasping. Ilara handed him water. Day 1 complete. 2 more to go. I don't know if I can do this. You can, because you have no choice. She sat beside him. Dorian won't hold back. He's fighting for honor. For pride, he'll try to break you. Marcus drank the water slowly. What if I lose? Then you lose with dignity. But Marcus, she waited until he met her eyes. You won't lose. Not because you're more skilled. Not because the academy trained you better. You won't lose because you have something Dorian doesn't. What's that? A reason to win that matters more than pride. That night, Marcus dreamed of Baron Cortez. But this time, the dream was different. The Baron's face wasn't twisted in pain. Instead, he nodded. Just once. As if granting permission. Permission to move forward. The second day of training was worse than the first. Ilara introduced opponents' former students she'd called in as favors. Each one skilled. Each one testing different weaknesses. Marcus fought them all. Lost half. Won half. Learned from every exchange. By day 3, his body was covered in bruises. But his mind was clear, sharp. Focused on the final evening before the duel, Ilara made him sit. Tomorrow, everyone will watch. The queen. The nobles. Every guard and servant in the palace. They'll see you fight Dorian. And whatever happens will define you for the rest of your life. Marcus nodded. So I need you to answer one question honestly. Ilara's voice grew quiet. Are you fighting to prove something to others? Or are you fighting for yourself? The question settled into his bones. He thought about the 3 years of hiding. The silence. The pretending. The weight of Baron Cortez's death that he carried every day. I'm fighting, Marcus said slowly, because I need to know if I can trust myself again. If I can use this skill without becoming a killer, if I can be a protector instead of a weapon, Ilara smiled. The first real smile he'd seen from her in 3 days. Then you're ready. She handed him his sword. Not a training blade. His real sword, the one from the academy. Win or lose, she said, remember that honor isn't about never falling. It's about standing back up when you do. Baron Cortez fell. He fell. Tomorrow, only one of you gets to stand up again. Marcus held the blade, felt its weight, its balance, its possibility. Make sure it's you, Ilara said. The next morning arrived too quickly. The courtyard filled with hundreds of people. Palace guards lined the walls. Nobles claimed the best viewing positions. Servants crowded wherever they could fit. In the center, dueling circle had been drawn in white chalk. Marcus stood at one edge in simple clothing. No armor, just leather and linen. His sword hung at his side. Across from him, Sir Dorian wore full plate armor. His sword gleamed in the sunlight. His expression was pure rage, barely contained. The queen sat on her throne, moved outside for the occasion. Captain Aldrin stood beside her, and in the corner, barely visible, Master Ilara watched with steel eyes. An official stepped forward. This is an honor duel. First blood or yield. No interference. Begin when ready. Sir Dorian drew his sword. Today, everyone sees the truth. That you're nothing special. Just a lucky coward. Marcus drew his own blade slowly, met the champion's eyes, and for the first time in 3 years, felt no fear, only purpose. Then let's find out, Marcus said quietly. The duel for his life and his soul was about to begin. Steel rang against steel. Sir Dorian attacked like a storm. Overhead slash, side cut, thrust. Every strike carried killing force behind it. His blade moved faster than the crowd could follow. Marcus blocked, parried, stepped back. His sword met every attack, but never countered. Not yet. Fight back. Dorian roared. Or is running all you know? The crowd murmured. They'd expected a battle. Instead, they watched Marcus's retreat, step by step around the circle. Captain Aldrin's hands clenched. What's he doing? Master Ilara's voice was calm. Learning. Marcus's eyes tracked every movement, every shift of weight, every telegraph before a strike. Dorian was fast, powerful, but Ilara had been right. He was predictable. The champion always attacked high before going low, always feinted left before striking right. Patterns buried in 15 years of victories, habits that had never been punished. until now. Dorian lunged forward with a thrust aimed at Marcus's chest. A killing blow. The crowd gasped. Marcus twisted sideways. The blade missed by inches. In that moment, Dorian's momentum carried him forward. Off balance, exposed. Marcus could have struck then. Could have ended it, but he didn't. He stepped back. Reset his stance. Dorian's face darkened. "You mock me?" "No," Marcus said quietly. "I'm showing you mercy." The champion's rage exploded. He attacked with everything. No strategy. No control. Pure fury turned into steel. Marcus's training took over. His body moved like water around stone. Block. Deflect. Redirect. Every strike sent past him by inches, or breath. Master Elira's voice echoed in his mind. Predictability is weakness. Dorian raised his sword overhead for a massive downward cut. His signature finishing move? The strike that had defeated knights and champions alike. Marcus saw it coming. He stepped inside the champion's guard, too close for the blade to reach him. His own sword came up not to cut, but to trap. He caught Dorian's blade against the crossguard, twisted. The champion's sword flew from his grip. It spun through the air, landed 10 feet away in the dirt. Silence complete. Absolute silence. Dorian stared at his empty hands. Then at his sword lying in the dirt. Then at Marcus. Marcus's blade hovered at the champion's throat. Not touching. Not even close enough to draw blood. Just present. Just there. "Yield," Marcus said softly. Dorian's whole body shook. With rage, with shame, with disbelief, "Yield," Marcus repeated. The champion's jaw clenched. His hands curled into fists. Every part of him wanted to refuse, to grab the sword from the dirt, to keep fighting until one of them couldn't stand. But the law was clear. A disarmed fighter had two choices: yield or be counted as defeated. Dorian's voice broke. "I yield." The courtyard erupted. Cheers, gasps, shouts. Nobles stood from their seats. Guards slammed spears against shields. The noise was deafening. Marcus lowered his sword, stepped back, extended his hand. Dorian stared at it. "You didn't cut me. You could have." "Multiple times." "Why?" "Because I've seen what happens when someone dies in a duel," Marcus said. "I've lived with it. And I won't do it again unless there's no other choice." The champion's expression shifted. Something between respect and confusion. Slowly, he took Marcus's hand. Marcus pulled him up. The queen rose from her throne. The crowd fell silent instantly. She descended the steps with measured grace. Every eye followed her. When she reached the dueling circle, she looked between the two men. "It's Sir Dorian," she said. "You fought with honor. But honor alone does not make a champion. You have served me well for 15 years. That service is not forgotten." Dorian bowed his head. "Thank you, Your Majesty." The queen turned to Marcus. "Marcus Hale, former student of the Crimson Academy, former duelist, former guard." She paused. "You have proven something today that no one expected, that strength and mercy can exist in the same heart." Marcus knelt. "Your Majesty, rise," she commanded. "Captain Aldrin." The captain stepped forward. "Yes, Your Majesty. Your retirement is long overdue. You've served faithfully for 30 years. It's time you rested." Aldrin's eyes widened. "Your Majesty, you have earned peace, old friend. Accept it with grace." The queen's voice softened just slightly. Then she looked at Marcus. "As of this moment, Marcus Hale, you are named Captain of the Royal Guard. You will train my soldiers, protect my palace, and ensure that strength is always paired with wisdom." The crowd exploded again. This time with approval. Marcus's throat tightened. "I accept, and I swear to serve with honor." The queen nodded. "See that you do." She glanced at the crowd. "Today you all witnessed something rare. A man who chose not to win by violence when violence was permitted. Remember this. True strength is knowing when not to use the blade." She returned to her throne. The ceremony concluded. People rushed forward. Guards congratulated Marcus. Nobles murmured about the incredible duel. Sir Dorian walked away quietly, his shoulders heavy, but his head still high. Master Alara approached through the crowd. Not bad. Marcus smiled despite his exhaustion. Just not bad? You hesitated twice. Your footwork got sloppy near the end, and you telegraphed that disarm by half a second. Her expression softened. But yes, you did well. Captain Aldrinformer? Captain Nell clapped Marcus on the shoulder. Congratulations. The job is yours. All the paperwork, late nights, and impossible decisions that come with it. I'll manage. You'll do more than manage. Aldrin's voice grew serious. You'll change things. Make them better. That's what good leaders do. As the crowd slowly dispersed, Marcus found himself alone in the courtyard. The white circle still marked in chalk. The place where everything had changed. He thought of Baron Cortez, of Westridge. Of 3 years hiding in plain sight, the guilt was still there. It would always be there. But it felt different now. Less like a chain, more like a reminder. A reminder that every choice mattered. Every action had weight. And strength without wisdom was just violence waiting to happen. Footsteps approached. Sir Dorian stood at the edge of the circle. I was angry, the champion said quietly. Humiliated. I wanted to hurt you. Marcus nodded. I know. But you didn't hurt me? You could have shamed me further? Made the defeat worse. Instead, you helped me up. Dorian met his eyes. Why? Marcus thought about his answer. Because we're both fighting battles no one else can see. Mine was guilt. Yours is pride. And neither one of us deserves to be destroyed by them. The champion stood silent for a moment, then extended his hand. Teach me. What? That technique. That control. How to fight without letting rage guide the blade. Dorian's voice was firm. If you'll have me as a student, Captain. Marcus smiled. Took his hand. Training starts at dawn. Don't be late. That night, Marcus stood on the palace ramparts. The city spread out below him. Lights flickering in windows. Lives being lived. People he'd sworn to protect. His sword hung at his side. The same blade. But it felt lighter now. Master Elira's words echoed in his mind. Honor isn't about never falling. It's about standing back up when you do. He'd fallen. At Westridge. With Baron Cortez. Into 3 years of hiding. But today, he'd stood up. Tomorrow would bring new challenges. New responsibilities. New choices between violence and mercy. And for the first time in 3 years. Marcus Hale felt ready to face them. Not as the ghost, Blade. Not as a killer or a coward. But as himself. Flawed. Haunted. And finally moving forward, the wind carried voices from the courtyard below. Guards training, learning, growing. Marcus smiled. This was where he belonged. Not hiding. Not running, but standing watch. With sword in hand and wisdom in heart, ready for whatever came next.